Well, Kansas football is back, baby. And with an impressive victory. Although at some points, it was kind of shaky. But hey, a win's a win. So, after a month hiatus, let's do a KU review. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Drew, better known as BrockChalk01, and today, yesterday, whenever you're watching this, the Kansas Jayhawks began their 2023 campaign as they took on the Missouri State Bears and won comfortably over Missouri State by a final score of 48-17. Now, before I get into anything else, I actually predicted the score correctly, which I don't know how I did that. It was just sheer luck.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
But anyway, this was more of what you would say is a tale of two halves, where KU and Missouri State played close in the first half, and then once the third and fourth quarters hit, it was a completely different story as KU ended up blowing them out of the water. Now, to say that that half was a complete dud is absolutely untrue. There was a lot of things that were questionable in that half, but there were some good things that came out of it, especially going overall. There was a lot of good things that came out of this game. So with that being said, for those of you who do not know, I give positives and negatives about the game. I give a player of the game and a player who needs to improve. Without further ado, let's do it. First off, the offense. My goodness, the KU offense, although in the first half it didn't seem like it, they ended up playing very well as KU put up over 500 yards a game. Total-wise was 521 with 276 yards going through the air, which that surprised me enough, and 245 courtesy of the ground game, averaging roughly 8 yards per play. So almost a first down every time. Now, defensively, KU did well, forcing them not to get over at least 300 yards, which I thought they did, but they didn't. They just barely cracked over 200 yards as they finished with 217 of total offense with 143 passing yards. And I will give the defense credit, only 74 rushing yards. It looked like it was going to be worse, but didn't look like that on paper. And the Bears averaged roughly 4.5 yards per play as well. Other positives, KU picking up first downs, making sure that Missouri State didn't pick up first downs, and then third down efficiency on both sides of the ball, KU did well. Let's start with first downs first. KU ended up winning that battle 27-10, and picking up 27 first downs kind of surprised me, but hey, if you're averaging roughly 8 yards per play, you're going to get a lot of first downs. And defensively, only having Missouri State pick up 10, wow. Now we go over third down efficiency. That was another thing. KU was 6 of 11 from third down, while the Bears were only 1 for 9. How on earth did they manage to score 17 points with a 1 of 9 third down efficiency? Is beyond me. So good job to our defense, making sure that they didn't convert on third down at all, but also our offense being able to convert on third down. So turnovers. KU won the turnover battle 2-1. You can also say that they kind of pulled even 2-2, as KU did have a turnover on downs, but it isn't an official turnover, I guess. But KU did have one, which ended up being a Daniel Highshaw fumble, and Missouri State had 2 picks that were thrown late. I don't know how they ended up being interceptions, but they did, with Kobe Bryant picking off the first one, and Quentin Lassiter, the younger brother of Kwame Lassiter, the second, he picked the second one off, and he just like straight up bullied him to get that ball. And then finally, penalties. KU surprisingly won the penalty battle, as Missouri State had 6 penalties for 50 yards, while KU managed to only have 3 for 35. And one of them was boneheaded, and that would be Michael Ford picking up an unnecessary roughness penalty at the 1. We had a chance to go for it on maybe 4th and goal at the 1, and that backed us up 15 yards from the spot, and it's like, well, that was pointless, and we ended up kicking a field goal there. Yeah, there's a couple penalties that ended up costing KU, and it led to Missouri State points, but not having very many penalties, I'm kind of pleased with. So, yeah, with all that said, those are my positives. Negative-wise, I would say the first half, because, oh boy, the offense wasn't fully there. Yes, you had the first possession. That was probably the highlight of the first half. After that, a fumble, a turnover on downs. You kick a field goal, and you finally get in the end zone, and you're only up by 7. That kind of worried me for a bit. And then, yeah, if you get back to the second half, I was fine after that. But was a little nervous at points, gonna be honest. And the other negative I've got was that KU unfortunately had a worse efficiency on fourth down, as KU was 1 for 2, 50% from fourth down efficiency, while Missouri State was 1 for 1, 100%. It's more of a nitpick there. The first time that we ended up going for it on fourth down, we really should have got that one, and I blame our offensive line on that one. The second one was a broken play, but it ended up working because Devin Neal ended up catching it and getting in for 6, which, how, I don't know. And they took forever on that replay. God. But if we would have converted on fourth down, this probably would have been nothing. It more or less would have been a kind of like a pull or a neutral thing. But unfortunately, it's a negative because we had a worse efficiency on fourth down. But not very many negatives in this game. And with all that said, those are my negatives. Player of the game. And I'm actually going to give it to 2 guys because those 2 guys carried. The first guy that I'm going to talk about is the quarterback, Jason Bean, who was not supposed to be the starter. As of like 5 hours before the game, he became the starter after they pulled Jalen Daniels out due to having a bad back. And he played like his job was on the line and balled out. Bean was 22 of 28 for 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, which, wow. And also running the ball 5 carries for 41 yards. That is a pretty solid game with over 300 plus yards from your backup quarterback to step up and basically control the game, completed over 60% of his passes. Yeah, this was a solid game for Jason Bean. And if Jalen isn't okay by the Illinois game, I'm fine with number 9 stepping up and being our starting quarterback for the second week in a row. And the other player of the game in my mind is going to be Devin Neal, aka the mayor of Lawrence. And that is absolutely not true. He's not the actual mayor, but he's given that moniker. He played a really good game, especially on both decision-making plays in terms of rushing the ball and catching. Rushing-wise, Devin had 13 carries for 94 yards and a score. And then receiving-wise, he had 3 catches for 25 and another touchdown. So over 100 yards and 2 total touchdowns. That's a pretty solid game for number 4, as he was predicted to be an all-conference selection. I don't think he was first team, but he was an all-conference selection. And that's proven why he can hang with the boys in his junior campaign. And we'll get to Devin Neal a little bit later, as I got some little more tricks up my sleeve. Devin played great, especially having big bursts of speed, making incredible cuts, finding the holes, getting to the gaps. And also getting open, especially in that fourth quarter where he made something out of nothing, as it was a 4th and 5, and he was probably option 4 on that play, and capitalized and gave us 6. So my co-players of the game is Jason Bean and Devin Neal. Now, the only reason why I have him here is because of his fumble. My player who needs to improve is Daniel Highshaw. 4 carries for 29 yards, and he did have a touchdown. But, after he fumbled on his second carry, he basically was pulled for the half. And I agree with Lance on that one. You can't cough the ball up after picking up a first down. He had the ball, and it just looked like he went flip and just threw it out there to say, hey, go get this. And he regrouped. He ended up scoring a touchdown, so I can't complain. But you just got to take better care of the ball. That's all. And especially with Illinois coming up and you got Big Ten competition, you know they're going to try and strip that ball, no doubt about it. So, for the sake of the video, unfortunately, I got to give Daniel Highshaw the player who needs to improve. Alright, before I go, I do have a top play, as this one was the opening score for Kansas's 2023 campaign, and it was the first touch by Devin Neal, 48 yards to the house, to make the score 7-0. And yeah, it was a great play. So let's watch it. It still would have been a good run if it was 25 yards, but he went for the whole 48 and got 6. So, Devin Neal with my top play. Anyway, that's going to do it for my review of KU versus Missouri State. Again, the final score, Kansas 48, Missouri State 17. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, and push that notification bell, and tell your friends about these videos. And I should see you again for the next review, as the Hawks will return to David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium to take on a powerful Illinois Fighting Illini team on primetime football. Yes, they're going to be playing on ESPN2, and it'll be an interesting matchup, to say the least. But until then, have a good day. Never ever bring exotic dancers to the field house, and I'll catch ya on the flip side. Peace.